So before we start, could you please introduce yourself?
Yep. So my name is Olivia. I came to the University of Warwick to study psychology after always wanting to do psychology from a young age.
So what is your current role, job title, and what organisation and company are you working for?
Yeah, so I work here at the University of Warwick in professional services, and I work in the Widening Participation Department as a Widening Participation Assistant Officer.
So what actually is widening participation?
Widening participation is levelling the playing field. It's all about helping those people that haven't had maybe the best chance for opportunities that some other students might have. They may have gone through challenges like being a young carer or being in local authority care. They might be a refugee. So anyone that faces, potential barriers, that means that they might need some extra support within life, I suppose, but in this context, higher education. So it might be that that's related to them living in a low participation neighbourhood and their area doesn't have a high rate of progression to university. It might be that they are the first in their family to go to university. It might be that they come from a school that has limited resource and limited funding, and therefore they're at a slight disadvantage to someone who's been to a more well-off school. So it really varies, and the definition of widening participation varies based on where you look and who you ask. But in short, I would say it's about levelling that playing field and supporting those who need it most.
Can you give us an example of an initiative that you've worked on?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a team, we do a lot of kind of campaigning on widening participation students' behalf. For example, estranged students might not have a home or a secure home, meaning that when they come to university, the accommodation is only during term time. The widening participation team have campaigned to make sure that they have their accommodation for the whole 52 weeks of the year. Equally, we run mentoring for those widening participation students, particularly we've done mentoring with looked after children, so those children that are in care and they don't have secure parents or guardians, providing them with a mentor that does regular visits so that they have that trusted adult and someone that they can offload to and talk to and learn from. Equally, the team does a lot of work with refugees and asylum seekers, campaigning on their behalf and making sure that they have someone to talk to. One of my colleagues that does that really is proud of being a voice for them, but also someone for them to tell their story to, so that they don't have to repeat that story at every step of the process and along the way, whether that be to personal tutors or to wellbeing, just someone to have listened and that can then tell that story on your behalf if it's a challenging thing to talk through. But just to be that one person that at any point you can go to and have a conversation with. There's lots of different programs of activity that help lots of different types of groups. And I think it is really about being there to support in any way that we can, and that's prospective students that haven't applied to university yet, but also current students that are already here.
Are there any common misconceptions about the field or role?
Definitely. I think sometimes people hear widening participation or outreach and kind of have a general gist and know what we're there for, but not fully. So we're there to support students who need it most and maybe don't come from the most affluent backgrounds or have faced any challenges or barriers in their lifetime. And I think there's a misconception that the widening participation probably across the sector of higher education isn't very well understood, or at least there's definitely more awareness to be raised. So when I will tell students that I'm from Widening Participation, they will ask me, can you make car parking cheaper at the university? And I'll say, well, that's not within my remit, unfortunately. I would love to. But then I also think that there's a lot of change that's needed, and change is slow. It's not quick with a snap of your fingers. So at the moment, 1 in 4 students are widening participation students, and the Office for Student have said that it will take 20 years to close that gap, or only 13% of young people that have been in care progress to go on to higher education. It's not easy to help with that change. It's quite slow. So I think, that's one of the misconceptions, that there's more awareness needed for widening participation and more people should get involved.